In the split second before Emma let go of the coffee table, Titan had already begun moving. Somehow, he'd sensed what was coming. He positioned himself in the exact spot where he knew she'd need him. The shelter supervisor visited a week later. Seeing Titan and Emma together, she cried. "I thought he was too broken to ever trust again. I've never been happier to be wrong. Today, they're inseparable." Emma takes her daily walks holding his collar. He matches her pace perfectly, never pulling, never rushing, just being exactly what she needs. The scars on Titan's body remain, but the scars on his soul? Those are healing, one toddler step at a time. An 80-pound Doberman with a devastating past shocked everyone when a 14-month-old toddler took her first steps. But what this scarred rescue dog did in that life-changing moment revealed a secret so heartbreaking it left an entire family in tears. This is the story of how Titan, a battle-scarred Doberman with a past nobody wanted to hear about, became the most unlikely guardian angel. What happened the day little Emma finally walked wasn't just beautiful. It was proof that some souls are destined to find each other, no matter how broken they've been. But there's something you need to know about Titan's past. Something that explains everything about why he reacted the way he did. And honestly, when you hear it, you'll never look at rescue dogs the same way again. 6 months ago, Titan was considered unadoptable. At the Phoenix Valley Rescue Center, shelter workers had labeled his cage with those heartbreaking words that seal a dog's fate: behavioral issues, extreme caution. This 80-pound mass of muscle carried deep scars across his shoulders and face, scars that told stories of a past filled with pain. His eyes held a sadness so profound that most visitors couldn't hold his gaze for more than a few seconds before walking away. If you're still watching, it means you understand that every scarred soul deserves their story to be heard. But if you haven't subscribed yet, that honestly breaks our hearts. People like you are exactly who we need here. Please subscribe, because Titan and every rescue dog still waiting needs your support. "He's too damaged," they whispered. "Too aggressive. Too intimidating." For 11 long months, Titan watched family after family choose other dogs. Smaller dogs, friendlier dogs, dogs without his terrifying appearance. Every night, he'd curl up on the cold concrete floor of his kennel, wondering if he'd ever know what it felt like to be wanted. The Martinez family wasn't looking for a Doberman that Saturday morning. They'd come to adopt a small companion dog for their household with 14-month-old Emma. But as they walked past the kennels, something stopped Sarah Martinez dead in her tracks. Through the chain-link fence, 2 dark eyes met hers, eyes that held such quiet desperation, such gentle pleading that her breath caught in her throat. Emma, perched on her father's hip, suddenly reached out her tiny hand toward Titan's kennel. "Doggy!" she squealed with pure joy. What happened next made the shelter supervisor grab her phone to record it. This supposedly aggressive, unadoptable Doberman pressed his scarred muzzle against the fence. And when Emma's little fingers touched his nose, his entire body relaxed. His tail, which the staff rarely saw move, began the gentlest wag. Tears filled his eyes as this tiny human offered him something he'd been starving for: acceptance. In that sacred moment, Titan's mind flashed through memories of his previous life. The shouting, the pain, the fear, the family that had used him as a guard dog, then abandoned him when he got injured protecting their home. He remembered the surgery to repair his torn shoulder, the recovery he endured alone in a basement, the day they drove him to the shelter and never looked back. For months, he'd believed he was unlovable, broken beyond repair. But now, feeling Emma's innocent touch, something awakened inside his wounded heart, a spark of hope he thought had died forever. The first week home tested everyone's patience. Titan was terrified of making mistakes. He'd position himself in the corner of rooms, watching from a distance, as if afraid that one wrong move would send him back to that lonely kennel. When Emma crawled toward him, he'd freeze completely, his eyes darting toward the adults as if asking permission to be near her. Sarah noticed something remarkable, though. Every time Emma cried, Titan's ears would shoot up, and he'd take one small step closer. Just one step, as if testing whether he was allowed to care. When Emma laughed, his tail would move in tiny, hopeful wags. He was learning something he'd never been taught, that love doesn't come with conditions or pain. The breakthrough came during a thunderstorm 3 weeks after his adoption. Emma woke up screaming, terrified by the loud crashes. Before David could get up the stairs, Titan was already there. He'd somehow pushed open Emma's bedroom door and positioned his massive body beside her crib. Not in it, just beside it. Close enough that Emma could reach through the bars and grab his ear, which she did, instantly calming down. When David found them, Titan looked up with those soulful eyes that seemed to say, "I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to be here, but she needed me." "Good boy," David whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You're exactly where you're supposed to be." From that night forward, Titan became Emma's self-appointed guardian. He'd follow her crawling adventures around the house, always staying exactly 2 paw lengths behind, close enough to catch her if she stumbled, far enough to let her explore. When she practiced pulling herself up on furniture, he'd position himself like a furry safety net, his muscles tensed and ready. The neighbors started noticing the change too. Mrs. Chen from across the street, who'd initially been terrified of Titan, now brought him homemade dog treats. "I've never seen such devotion," she told Sarah one afternoon. "That dog treats your daughter like she's made of precious glass." But nobody truly understood the depth of Titan's transformation until the day Emma decided she was ready to walk. It was a Tuesday morning. Sunlight poured through the living room windows, painting golden squares on the hardwood floor. Emma had been practicing standing, holding onto the coffee table, her chubby legs growing stronger each day. The family had been waiting for this moment for weeks. Sarah was folding laundry, David was answering emails, and Titan, as always, was on duty, lying 5 feet away from Emma, his dark eyes tracking her every movement. Then, without warning, Emma let go of the coffee table. Time seemed to slow down. Her little arms stretched out for balance. Her face showed pure concentration, and she took one wobbly step forward, then another. Titan's head lifted immediately. His entire body went rigid with attention. Emma took a 3rd step, then a 4th. Her face broke into the biggest smile. She was doing it! She was actually walking! But then her tiny legs wobbled. She started to fall backward toward the sharp corner of the entertainment center. Titan moved with lightning speed that shocked everyone. His 80 pounds launched forward in one fluid motion. He slid underneath Emma's falling body, twisting in midair so that his broad back became her landing pad. The impact knocked the wind out of him, but he absorbed every bit of it, keeping her completely safe. For a moment, nobody breathed. Then Emma, sitting on Titan's back, clapped her hands together and laughed. "Doggy!" she squealed with pure delight. Titan, still catching his breath, turned his massive head and gently licked her tiny hand. His eyes were soft, peaceful. For the first time since his rescue, he looked truly happy. Sarah burst into tears. David couldn't speak. And Emma, completely oblivious to the miracle that had just occurred, patted Titan's scarred head with her little palm. But here's the part that makes this story truly extraordinary. Later that evening, when they reviewed the security camera footage, they discovered something that changed everything they thought they knew about Titan.